Welcome, hello, and thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Trommer, your co-host of today's Electrical Estimating, and I'm joined by Sal Huerta, our other co-host. Today's going to be a little different than our standard episode, I guess you can say. We're going to do a little recap of the last three that you've seen over this month. Sort of try to draw it all together, maybe look at a few different perspectives on the things that we discussed. So, Sal, we talked a lot about pricing over the last three episodes with Barney and what he does to solidify his pricing for his bids, how he's looking out into the future, talking to Paul McCormick, how they get pricing for their databases. And then again, Keith Peck with NetPricer, which you're very aware of, and how you guys are providing up to date 24/7 pricing, connecting the contractor and distributor. One thing I have to ask about is we hinted with Paul regarding labor and how they have different labor levels for each of these projects. I feel like labor is a big component of this when it comes to cost and pricing for project bids that equate to product pricing. Are we looking at a project and labor is 70% and product pricing products are about 30, or is it 50-50? Are they even, or is which one a little bit greater than the other when it comes into the project bid?
To answer it point blank, labor is by far the most. But what happens is people kind of forget that pricing or the information for it is a close second. It's not like way down the list of things to do. I'll give you a quick little example of labor as why it is. So, say it's a 30-foot apartment complex being built, and the electrician has to carry 3 pounds of product. You can imagine on level 1, that's pretty simple. But by level 30, you're talking 30 flights of stairs. You're talking, carrying this 5-pound bag of products, 30 stories. By the time you get to the top and install them, the labor for that is much, much more than on the first floor. So, those are the kinds of things that these engineering software programs do. These estimating software programs, you're allowing you to calculate this kinds of stuff, and that's why, since labor again is probably by far the most important thing. But when it comes to pricing, a part of it, what people generally forget is that, yes, a majority of these estimating packages come with a database that you can price out of. But there are a number of software companies that have no database. So you're having to start to create this information by yourself, and think of it as 10 rows of information, a UPC number, a catalog, a description. Price is a part of that. But by the time you're having to spend an enormous amount of time creating this database, once you do that, within a week or two, now it's out of date. Prices have changed.
Mhm.
Maybe some items have been obsoleted. There's a newer item coming in. So that's where the managing and maintaining of these databases and the pricing for them comes into play.
It seems like obviously labor plays a huge part. I didn't even think about the different costs per labor for jumping in an elevator, going up 30 flights to the 30th floor to do work compared to the first floor, even walking it, whatever the case may be. I mean, I guess with that, your cost of labor is going up because it's taking more time to get your people up there, to get product up there. So that's looking at all different scenarios, even if it's a hazardous location or whatever it may be. So your labor is going to be varying on these different degrees of difficulty, I guess, for the installation. Where product pricing is normally, it doesn't have to change when it goes to a different environment, right? The product price is going to be your product price, and then you are getting that straight from your distributors. The conditions aren't changing where it's going to take a little bit more skill and understanding and cost when you're looking at the labor.
That's correct. Yeah. And then actually, that's where these software programs come in, because they actually help you, flag you and say, hey, did you look at this or think of this? And then we've had, guests come on and talk about how, being an electrician helps because you've done the work and now you kind of know what this is. And so you're looking into these jobs through that lens. But the pricing part of it, you also have to remember, is dependent upon that contractor with that distributor. So he could be buying from 5 different guys in town, but one of them is his main distributor and he gets the best discounts.
Mhm.
And the 5th one, he gets the least, he buys the least amount of product. And so he gets the least amount of discount. But yet they carry a product that he needs for a specific job. So all these factors, when it comes to pricing, falls into that category as well.
So you just said something right there that struck a chord, because NetPricer itself, I know you guys are connecting the contractor with 3 of their distributors for product pricing. And a lot of time it's good for them because then they can be sort of what Keith Peck alluded to, sort of seeing where the, I don't want to say cheapest, but the less costly distributor may be. But there's a lot of factors that play into it. And one you just mentioned may be that a distributor's not carrying a particular product line that they do need, say it's spec'd into the job. Another thing could be, as Keith had mentioned during our conversation, is their credit line. I mean, that's one reason you might be spreading it across multiple distributors because you just don't have the credit line to buy as much product as you need. So you're going someplace else. When people are looking at net pricer, will they necessarily go with the cheapest option per se because of the fact that, hey, I might be getting the cheapest cost for this widget from distributor A, but if their credit line is lower with that guy, they can't purchase that. And if they put that lower cost into their project bid, when they go to purchase it, they're going to have to go to a different distributor where it's going to cost more. So will they be looking at the distributor where they actually have that buying power and putting in maybe a more expensive cost for that product because of that situation?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a factor that plays into the overall bid process. But just to clarify one thing, Net Pricer doesn't have just 3 distributors. You can have as many distributors as you qualify for. But also, the distributors, from the distributor point of view, that's what they think these estimating programs or pricing programs are just ways for them to cherry pick them or to find which is the cheapest of all their product and drill down the price lower from there. The reality is, you mentioned one of the scenarios, we meaning credit, and then the other scenario meaning that this distributor carries a product that someone else doesn't. But the reality is, all these distributors have a number of value-added services, providing the product to their, from to the job site, a saving product for them, kitting them together in their warehouse for them when they need it for the job they're working on right now. It's the next phase they need these products for. So they're saving them for that phase. So there are a lot of these kinds of value-added services that far outweigh pricing. We've done surveys in the past that have talked to contractors about that specific question. Is pricing number one? And when it comes back to these from these surveys that we had from these contractors, pricing's 4, 5, number 6 on the list, because all these other services that distributors provide do really matter to the contractor. Much more so than trying to save a penny or two here or there.
So you mentioned their cherry picking. I know Keith mentioned that when NetPricer was started, distributors were saying they were worried that this would be a platform to allow contractors to cherry pick the cheapest price. But it seems like if somebody went and just did the cheapest price and cherry picked it, that could be a downfall, because if they go and choose Jeremy's electrical distributor and they're getting this product at $1, but as we mentioned, all the other factors play into it. By the time they actually win the bid, if they go with somebody else and it's a 150, you're losing 50 cents out. And if you're using 10,000 of these widgets, that adds up, even 1,000. So it seems like, they get the information back. It says, here's your 3 prices, let's just say for 3 distributors. They're not necessarily going to go, hey, we're going with this cheapest one, plug that into the estimate, because they might be setting themselves up to fail because A, they don't have the credit with that person, or B, the extended services they need would make them choose a different distributor once they do go forwards with this project when it's won. So the cheapest price doesn't seem like it's always necessarily the greatest thing.
And, sometimes people also fail to realize that a lot of these buying habits are habits that we have in our personal life. Mm-hmm. So as an example, you have your nephew's birthday coming up on Saturday and it's a Wednesday, and you go online to, any of the online services to buy something, then you find, the product that you want to buy for them. And then you click on the lowest price one. It could be 3 weeks before you get it.
Yep.
So are you going to pay the extra $1 more to have it sent in 2 days? Mm-hmm. So yes, pricing and finding the cheapest thing doesn't always work when it doesn't fit the job or the things that you're needing to do. You're going to pay a little bit more to get the convenience or to get it delivered to you, or it's a different product altogether, a better one, all these different things. That's why these sites have ratings. They'll say, this is the number one best overall pick, and this is the one that's been picked the most today, and those kinds of things to give you a better informed decision and to allow you to make that, do I need it quicker? Do I need it later? Those are the kinds of things. And these programs do the exact same thing. It's not all about price.
But it gives you your price, but it seems like it's up to the estimator to understand the relationship they have with the distributor. Even though they're getting prices back saying, hey, we have the product and we'll give it to you at this price, they have to understand the relationship that they have with that distributor to know, hey, will our credit line hold? Will they deliver it on time? Do they drop it right on site for us for large orders in a container? Will they do pre-assemblies for us? All that stuff. So it's not as much a cherry picking. And it seems like this actually, a distributor should be listening to this and going, hey, okay, service. Because I know distributors are out building their relationships. And, if they were worried about price, it seems like they should be building relationships to be stronger and have the contractor understand, like, hey, we can do this for you, we can do that for you, and that all might outweigh the cost, even if it's a little bit more, because the extra valued service that they're providing could save them more in the end.
Oh, absolutely. It's like the scenario I gave you before about the kid and his, birthday. If you have to wait 2 weeks and go to that birthday party and say, "Oh, I'm sorry, I don't have a gift for you because I didn't get it in time," or you get that, you pay a little extra, you get the gift in 2 days, and then you're there. Those are the kinds of things that outweigh for a contractor that distributors do. All those value-added products or services that you alluded to there exactly make a difference. And getting the product in there. I think of it again, if you're waiting at the job site and you've got 50 people and the product's not going to come for 2 weeks, that's a huge cost that they have to sit there versus, hey, I've got to pay a little bit more, but the guy's going to deliver to my job site. Everyone's working the next day.
And there's bringing it right back there to the labor point. I mean, even if you have 10 guys in 1 hour, you're waiting for a delivery to come through. I mean, how much is that going to cost you in labor right there?
And hurt your estimate that you did because you already estimated based upon everybody working the whole time,
Yep.
not people staying around.
Yeah. And I'm guessing they probably add a little bit in there for those downtimes. But, if you're not getting delivered, that's probably not something you expect because you're expecting your distributor to get the product when it's needed on that job site for you.
Exactly.